Hello, 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 hello. Happy Wednesday. Super, super happy to be with you guys today. Happy Wednesday. All right, I'm just going to give it a second here for everything to update. And then we're going to get started. Let me just make sure it's working. Okay. All right. Great. All right. So if you are live here with me, I would love to know who's here so I can say hi to you. If you have questions, comments, thoughts as we go through today's live, questions or things that you're struggling with in your own business, especially if you're live, please drop a note in the comments and I will address whatever it is that you're saying as a part of this live. And always, if you're catching this on the replay, let me know. Feel free if you just tag me in the comments, then I'll come back in and respond if you're not watching it live today on Wednesday. So happy Wednesday. Today we're talking about authentic sales. And I think really what is most important, or the piece that I want to start with when we start talking about, or when we talk about authentic sales, is just to begin by saying those two things can go together. I know so many deeply heart-centered, purpose-driven entrepreneurs, healers, coaches, specifically people who feel like helpers, but not just those people. I think have a hard time reconciling the sales and marketing piece of running a business with the actual delivery, the product or service that you deliver. And so I want to just start today by saying you can sell authentically. That's the first message that I want to share. If you're live, say hi. Please let me know you're here. Last week, the comments were not showing up for me live. So I'm sorry for those of you who were live last week. I did not respond to you in real time. Oh, here we go. Okay, great. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. Okay, Melinda says, thinking about my question. Hi, Allison. Hey, and Melinda, we're not doing a live reading today. So any questions you have about sales or authentic sales. And yeah, if anybody else is live, say hello. So yeah, sales can be authentic. And so I want to just start out by saying that today, and to say that it can also be fun. It can also be an enjoyable part of running a business. And so if that's where you're stuck already, so often what I like to do in these lives is to just talk through various pieces of a specific topic. Today it's sales. And hopefully what will happen for you is some of the stuff I'm saying you're going to have heard before. Some of the stuff I'm saying you already know because you've experienced it in your business. Maybe you've already learned the lesson. Some of it you're circling back around to repeating the same lesson at a deeper level, right? And some of it is going to be brand new. It's usually some sort of combination of those things, or a new perspective on something. And I think what I always like to sort of encourage people to do when they're listening to these lives is to, take what works first off. Always take what works and leave the rest, what works and resonates for you. But I also think too, like some of the pieces that I'm talking through can always be, this is always my intention with these lives, is that somewhere in here, you're going to see a piece where you're like, ooh, that's where the mindset work is for me. Ooh, I hear you, Laura, that you're saying sales can be authentic, but like pretty much the sales piece of it just feels really gross to me. And I don't want to do it, and I don't like it, and it just feels like, blech. So if that's where you're sitting and you're like, okay, I kind of like, maybe for you it's authentic, but for me it's not. Or I haven't figured out a way to make this feel good to me yet in my business. That's okay. And this is a great little nugget. This is where some of the mindset work is. Because I think no matter what is happening, and those of you who've listened to me for a while have heard me say this before, wherever it is in your business that feels sticky, that you don't want to deal with, that bothers you, that there's definitely some mindset work around that, whether it's mindset work to delegate it out or mindset work to make it not feel so gross. And I think with sales, you know, it depends on what your business model is, and it depends on where you are in your process. But I think for the most part, you really can't run a business and just not do any sales whatsoever, unless you've already built it to a certain point and you have somebody who's responsible for that. But even still, as the business owner, there's still a piece of what you're doing where you're the face of the business, and just by the nature of it, you are selling. And so I think it's a really important thing to do, to find ways to make the sales process feel good to you. And to feel, and that's why I call it authentic, because I think so many people feel about sales that it is inauthentic, right? And how many of you have been, hi Deb, welcome. Good to see you, my dear. It's been a while. I think a lot of people find sales really sleazy, right? I know you've got, everybody's got like the used car salesman fear of like, oh my God, I do not want to come off that way, right? So just play with my windows a little bit so I can see you guys. So let's go to the piece around it being authentic. That's my first piece here for you guys, is that it can be authentic. You can find a way to have sales calls that feel good. And a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is about either sales calls, discovery calls, free consults, whatever you call it, which in many cases is something that service-oriented businesses have, you know, it's part of the way that we do business. But this is also for most of what I'm going to be talking about is any time where you're in a position where you could advertise, market, inform, educate your audience, or a random person on the street who asks you what you do, or if you're out networking, or if you're doing a speaking engagement, right? So most of what I'm talking about today is about I'm just going to call it like in-person or virtual, face-to-face. I'm not talking very much today about like the advertising and marketing or the social media aspect of sales. Obviously they all go together, but a lot of what I find people get stuck around is like, okay, I made you my pitch. Are you going to say yes or no? This all feels weird. I just want to move on to like serving you or not serving you, right? So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is, you know, having a conversation with someone. So just to give you that. And I think the other thing I just want to say is, as I said a minute ago, if sales feels wonky to you, that's your area of opportunity for growth right now. Like, that's great. You found it. Okay. Do some mindset work around it. Get a coach, get somebody to work with you, start practicing, start digging into like, what is it specifically that's bothering you and how can you make it feel good to you? How can you make it feel right and authentic, right? That's why we're calling this authentic sales. Because ideally, not only for your fulfillment, you know, is it a good idea to feel, you know, good and feel authentic in your sales process, but it's also going to make the sales process harder when it feels inauthentic to you, when it doesn't vibe with you, when you feel like you're doing something you're supposed to do and it doesn't really quite resonate with you, then you're interjecting that sort of wonky energy into your sales process. Doesn't mean you can't make a sale. It just makes it harder. That's all it is. It just makes it harder. So I'm going to talk about a few things today. This is by no means a all-encompassing, thorough conversation about sales, or authentic sales for that matter. But there are just some things that have been really rising to the top of my conversations with clients recently, and just some other things that I'm seeing out and about that really sort of inspired today's topic. If you have something specific around sales that you'd like me to cover, please put it in the comments. I might or might not get to it today, but I'm happy to, and this is always an open option for you guys. I'm happy to do another live around that topic another day. So anytime you want to hear something specific from me, please let me know. All right. Hello, Lori. This is a fun group already. Who's on live today? That's amazing. Thank you for joining. Okay. So number one, before I go any further, I want to talk just a little bit about finding it's important to understand what's going on within you around sales. Again, this is a huge opportunity for mindset work, whether it's sales in general or any other little nugget that I'm going to be talking about today. There's so many different ways that you can look at sales and slices and aspects of it that might sort of put you in like a sticky space energetically. So just find the nugget that works, that's sort of speaking to you as far as like, ooh, yeah, that's where I get stuck. And I think it's really important to be self-aware around what actually feels misaligned to you versus what's just a little out of your comfort zone, right? So this isn't me saying, you hear me say all the time, and one of my like number one values in life and in business is that you can create what makes sense for you, create your own way of operating your business, find a strategy that works for you, run your business on your own damn terms. And this absolutely includes the sales process. And part of what I'm going to talk to you about today are some ways that you can think about how you want to interject what feels authentic to you so that you're creating an authentic sales process. What might be authentic for me in my business is not going to be an easy copy paste into someone else's business, even a coach, right? Because it's me. It has to work for you. And so there's no right way, right, to do sales, and you can create it your own way. And that's not to say, well, if it doesn't feel good, then I don't have to do it. So I'm just going to stay in my comfort zone and not grow, right? That's different than what I'm saying. So I think step one in any situation in your business when you're looking to improve it in some way is to stop and take stock of what's your awareness of the situation. Is this, well, I don't like sales because I have a mindset issue? Is this, I don't like sales because what I think I have to do to sell things, I don't want to do, right? Or is it that I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly what feels good and authentic to me and resonate and like aligns to my business and my business model and how I offer things and what services I provide and my personality type, right? But it doesn't feel comfortable because maybe I'm scared of being visible, or maybe I'm afraid of asking somebody for the sale, or maybe whatever it is, right? That's a comfort zone thing. That's where you have an opportunity to do some mindset work. That's different than something deeply misaligned and not resonating with you or your business. If that does not make sense, please let me know. If it does make sense, please let me know. But I just want to get that part out of the way. We are assuming when we're talking about inauthentic sales that it's not simply something that you're like, I'm a little scared to do this, or this is a little outside my comfort zone, right? This is about things that are aligned and things that are not aligned. Things that you don't feel aligned doing in your sales process that other people might, and that's okay. You have to find what works for you, and that doesn't always mean staying in your comfort zone. Okay, so you can have an authentic sales process. You can have an authentic conversation with someone, and it may be a little outside your comfort zone. That doesn't mean it's inauthentic. I hope this is making sense. Okay, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, I want to say to you, the other big piece of this is just because someone tells you this is how you do sales doesn't mean that's how you have to do it. There is a lot of information, particularly in the online space, about how to sell, particularly how to sell online. And none of them are wrong. And in some ways, none of them are right. And I guess I mean, none of them are right in the sense that it's the only way. There is no only way. There is no only way. You created a business. Everybody in this group has created a business either on their own or with a partner. You've created something that didn't exist before. You're already doing it differently. You're already, even if there are models and similar businesses out there to yours, there's still no one unique business just like yours, because it's yours. Just like there's no you out there other than you. So don't let someone or something or you tell you that there's only one way to do it. And if you won't do X, then you can't make money, or you won't make, a sale, or you can't be successful. None of that is true. There's no one way to do sales, particularly authentic sales, because that, by nature of the fact, right, you're being your unique self if you're being authentic, right? So permission to do it your way, permission to create your own way of doing sales, and permission to adjust it as you change and evolve over time, as your clients, potential clients, change and evolve over time. And let's just take a minute to just be really open and compassionate with ourselves, because for most people, this is the hardest part of running a business. So let yourself go through whatever the process is for you. Let it be an experimentation. So I've got a few ways that I would like to offer up and things to be thinking about as you run your own business on your own damn terms, as you think about how to infuse authenticity or more authenticity into your sales calls. Let me know how this resonates. Let me know what questions you have as we go. So one of the things to do, I would like to offer up. I hear this all the time. Like, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to bother the people. I don't want to sound slimy. That's too out there. That's too direct. That's too much, too salesy, too whatever word you want to fill in the blank, right? And that comes from particularly women, especially, I want to say women, but not exclusively. It comes from a lot of women who want to do the sales thing the feminine way. And that's beautiful. And they've grown up in the world and in business. In many cases, I spent 18 years in the corporate world, still male dominated. Even though I had a lot of female role models and leaders, the structure and the culture is still fairly masculine, still very masculine, fairly masculine, and a masculine way of selling, and a masculine way of doing business, and a masculine way of doing things. And it doesn't have to be done that way. And I'm all tangled. And it also doesn't have to be done in the perfect feminine way either. I see a lot of people swinging the pendulum the other way and feeling as though they're doing it wrong if they interject any amount of masculinity energy and masculine energy into their business. And that doesn't feel right either. You've got to find your way of being as a business owner, and that's going to evolve over time, between these two extremes, between these two ways of being. So back to my point about not wanting to feel salesy, not wanting to like ram stuff down people's throats, not wanting to be pushy. That's another one I hear a lot. If that's something you're worried about and you're like deeply worried about it, I'm here to tell you, I would be willing to bet all the money in the world that there's no way in hell you're ever going to actually be pushy or salesy or annoying or whatever those things are, because you're so on the other end of it. You've probably had bad experiences with sales and had that like icky energy forced upon you, where somebody tried to talk you into doing something, right? That you felt like somebody's trying to take my money or whatever it is, right? And that's what doesn't resonate with a lot of people. And that's why a lot of people don't feel good about sales, but that doesn't have to be sales. Okay. That doesn't have to be sales. Sales can be neutral. Sales can be fun. Sales is basically an agreement with someone else. Period. Oh my God, I love that necklace. I'd like to buy it. Here's my money. Jewelry maker receives money and is happy. Customer wears pretty necklace and is happy. It's an exchange, just like, right? People talk about money is just simply an energy. It's an exchange. Sales is just having that conversation about like, oh, which necklace and how much is it? And do I want the blue one or the green one, right? It can be neutral or fun. So my point again is if you're worried about being this salesy, annoying person, most likely you're on so far end of that extreme that even if you took like a pill that was like salesy and pushy energy, it would only just move you closer to the middle. It would never move you over into that extreme version. So let go of some of that like worry of being something that is so extreme that you probably, if you really sit down and ask yourself, you probably know you're never going to be that way anyway, right? You're never going to actually be that way. Now, that's not to say that when we move ourselves closer to the middle and we authentically ask someone for a sale, that we might not, again, that might be a little out of our comfort zone. We might feel like, oh my God, I'm being so bold and out there, right? I'm being so pushy, but it doesn't mean that you actually are. And it doesn't mean that you are being perceived and received in that way by the other person on the other end of the line. Okay, let me know if this makes sense. I'm going to just double check, see if I can see these comments here. There we go. Okay. So that's one of the pieces that I want to talk about is just this idea of being too salesy. You can probably just let that go. You're probably never going to go all the way to the other end of the extreme or anywhere close to it in reality. And I think it's also something that really slows a lot of people down because it gets to be an excuse. Well, I don't want, and this is me too. I was like this too. It's like, I don't want to be, for me, it was corporate. I wanted to be so not like corporate that I was determined to throw the baby out with the bathwater. For those of you who've been in corporate, I have about a month ago, I did a live called Corporate Detox, where I talked about how I left corporate and I was like determined to just do everything so differently that I swung the pendulum all the other way to the end of the extreme. And I did everything, nothing like corporate, which means that I threw the baby out with the bathwater with my skills and my ability to know how to run businesses and my ability to be organized. And I was like determined not to use spreadsheets and like, which is so funny because I love spreadsheets. But I had to I was so resistant and just, I'm not gonna do it. And then slowly I had to find my way between the two extremes because what really worked in corporate doesn't work for me, but there are pieces that I needed to bring in that do work for me, that do resonate with me, that is perfectly neutral and spreadsheets are fine. It doesn't mean that I'm not a spiritual person if I allow spreadsheets into my business, right? So letting go of some of that stress around being too much, because you're probably, for those of you who, and the people who don't worry about being too much might be too much. But those of you who are worried about it, I promise you, you're probably never going to be too much. So just let it go. Don't let it be an excuse to not do it. Don't let it be an excuse because the world needs what you have to sell. Why else did you start this business? If not to sell something? You are in business. It's okay to sell. So, which leads me to my next point, which is where in the sales process are you not comfortable owning either what it is you offer, who you are, what your prices are, whether someone's going to say yes or no to it? Like, where in that process are you not comfortable owning it? Where in that process are you like, well, maybe if I'm just quiet, they'll say, they'll come after me. I don't want to come after anyone else. I'm only just going to stay back. And I think sales, just like conversations and just like relationships go in all different directions. Like sometimes, I'll call someone who I know is like a warm, potential client and see if they want to have a conversation, reignite the conversation about possibly working together. They had been a maybe before. So like, that's me like pursuing them, right? I can reach out to them. That's one way. Another way is somebody reaches out to me. And another way is we kind of come together and meet and say, oh, well, let's have this conversation. And we just have the conversation and we may or may not come to some agreement. But it goes in all different ways. You can lean in, you can lean back, it can come together. Let all of it be. You don't have to do it one way unless only one way feels good to you, right? But I think so many people, like particularly my healers and coaches out there, and particularly my spiritual people, like there's this sort of like, well, if the universe wanted it to happen, it would happen. So I shouldn't really have to do anything. And like, it's like, well, okay, but you are running a business and it's okay. It's okay to want to make a sale. It's okay to make someone an offer. It's okay to be a business and act like you're in business. So everybody knows that you're hoping to also make money out of this. And that's not a secret. So it's okay to own it. And the truth is, when you hold back and you don't make an offer, which isn't salesy and pushy, it's just saying, I'll make you an offer right now. I have a free coaching session that's available right now to anyone who wants to fill out a questionnaire in advance and find a spot on my calendar. I don't have a lot of spots every month, but I have a few spots every month. And you can hop on my calendar and have a free coaching session for 30 minutes. I'm just giving you my offer. I'm just letting you know. If I'm just quiet and I don't tell you it's available, then you don't know that that's an offer, right? I have a 5-month one-on-one coaching program for anybody who's looking for a one-on-one coaching around their business, looking for a business coach. That's the service, my primary service that I offer. If somebody's interested in that, please reach out to me. I'm just making an offer. I'm just letting you know what I do. And there's so many people that hold and wait for someone to ask, or wait, or they'll post one thing and then they think that they've made their offer, but only certain people saw that first post. It's okay to be a business. It's okay to have an offer out there. It's okay to tell people and to own the fact that you're a business owner and that you have something beautiful to offer. If you don't tell them, or if you don't tell them enough, they won't know it's an option. And those of you who are regular followers of me have been hearing me for, I think, 2 months now, say that I'm offering free sessions. I feel sometimes like I'm saying it too much, but I'll get somebody telling me, like last week, I had somebody telling me, oh, this is the first I saw of it. I'm so glad I signed up for it. Right? I've been like repeating myself. I don't even know how many times. It's fine. That's my offer right now. It's not going to always be here, but that's my offer right now. I have an obligation to let people know you can take it or not take it. It's fine. Right? It's just my offer. I'm a business owner. I'm here to make money. I'm here to help people. Neutral. So where in your business, for those of you who are like looking for what's the piece under sales that bothers me? Are you not owning the business aspect of your business? Are you like not wanting to deal with the money piece of it? Is money dirty? Is money like just a pain in the ass? I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have conversations about money. Because then what if they can't afford it? And then I think maybe I should change my pricing and blah, 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 right? Is it the pricing? What is it? Where is it that you can step into your power more and stop apologizing for the fact that you're making money running your business? And when that energy comes into sales conversations, can you see how that might make them harder for the person on the other end? Whether they're cognizant, whether they're like consciously aware of it or not, it enters into the conversation. Marcia says, I wish I was more salesy. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I think like salesy is however you define it, right? But I think one of the ways that I like to think about it is to just remind myself to keep making sure people know about my offer. Whatever my offer is, or however I speak about my offer. That's moving into the salesy, side or what's the word? Oh my God, my brain. I'm having this. Moving to, okay, we'll just say the salesy side of things instead of I'm just going to back away and hope everybody will come to me. Like I think a lot of times, like, what authentic sales is and what is important in sales is that it's important to let people know what your offer is. It's important to let people know what you do. It's important to let people know how you can help them, what problem you solve, who you serve. Okay, I'm going to stop there for a second. And then the other thing I like to do when I'm thinking about authentic sales, and I work with a lot of my clients on this, is if you're feeling nervous about letting someone know about your offer, telling them about what you can do, how you can help them, or even if you're having a hard time writing a sales page on your website or a post that's going to make a sales offer in a, you know, in a social media post, I think it's really like, take a minute before the call, take a minute away from your computer, whatever it is that you're doing. And actually, I'm going to have you guys, those of you who are live or on the replay, just take a minute with me and close your eyes. Take a couple deep breaths and close your eyes. And I want you to bring your attention all the way into your heart. And then I want you to just tap into the energy of the offer that you have right now. And if you offer more than one thing, just pick one, pick whatever sort of front and center for you right now. Just take a minute to just sit with the energy of what your offer is and how you can help people. And how that's going to impact their lives or their business or their relationship or whatever it is that you're helping them with. How is that going to impact them? How is that going to make a change for the better for them? And then what does it feel like for you to deliver that service? How does that feel? Whether you're making a product or creating art or delivering some sort of service to someone, how does it feel to do that, to actually do your work in this offer, in the context of this offer? How does it feel for you to do that work? And let that be the energy that you're coming from. You can open your eyes when you have a sales call. Let that be the energy that you come from when you write your sales page. I get teary when I do that. When you write a sales post, because that's what you offer. So tap into the energy of what you do and what your offer is, and how juicy that is for you, how fulfilling that is for you, how fun it is to see the results on the other end, whether you're coaching someone or, you know, you're seeing, I always love to use, Courtney, your jewelry as an example, like to see someone else's jewelry, you know, see your jewelry on someone else, you know, wherever that is that they go. Whatever it is that you do, that's not salesy. That's just saying, yeah, this is what I do. This is what I can do for you. I make this cool jewelry. I have this great coaching program. I help you with your relationship. Then you're having an authentic sales conversation, because you are just, I'm getting chills everywhere. You are just in the energy of what it is that you do. That's why you started this business. Let go of all the ways that people are telling you to have to do stuff, and just tap into what you do and speak it or type it in your social media posts. Say it in your speeches. Say it on your discovery calls. Let people know what you do when you're having networking meetings. Let people know what you do when they ask, right? That's what a lot of people ask people they meet for the first time, at least in the States. Hey, nice to meet you. What do you do? Come from that place. That's authentic sales. That's you being you. And at the end of the day, what I find too, which brings me to my next point, which is about detaching from the outcome. When you can do this, it's much easier to detach from the outcome, because anybody who doesn't resonate deeply with what it is that you do when you're vibing in this energy of like how great stuff is. And this isn't to say that you also don't need, I mean, you do also need to like figure out how to speak words that reflect what you do. But anybody who doesn't resonate with me when I tap into what I do, that's fine. I don't want to work with them. That's okay. They don't have to. Because there are people that do. And those are the people I want to work with. Because this is how I want to feel as much as possible. Right? And then it helps us detach from needing to make the one sale of the day that's on your calendar from the discovery call that you know is happening, because you don't know that, you know, there's 9 million fish in the sea and somebody else is going to call you next week or tomorrow or in 5 minutes. I often will get a no discovery call, whether it's me not feeling like it's right or someone else not feeling like it's right. And I swear almost every single time I will get another like discovery call booked during that time, or somebody will reach out or somebody will send me a referral. Like almost every time I get a no, there's a new potential that pops in at some point. It's not, and that's not me specific. That's just sort of the way that the world works, whether you're aware of it or not. But the more you can detach from the small focus of today and the discovery call in front of you, and remember that there's always more fish in the sea, there's always a pipeline, whether you're aware of it or not. You know, I talk a lot about things like referrals, because I think those are the dot connects that aren't visible to us. Like I sit down and say, I tell Lori Smith what I'm doing, and she goes, oh, that's cool. And she's not interested, but she's like, okay, that's fine. Good to see you. Okay, bye. And then how do I know that she hasn't told 2 other people about what I'm doing when she starts to see a match? Like, oh, this person actually would make sense for Laura's program. Maybe I should put them in touch, right? Which Lori has done. Thank you. So there are so many dot connects that you don't know where things are coming from. You don't know what's on its way to you until it's in front of you. And so when you can detach from the outcome of today's sale, of today's financial goal, or this month's financial goal, or whatever it is, and you can just allow yourself to stay tapped into the energy of what it is that you do and what it is that you're offering and who it is that you're working with, it helps you detach from the outcome. And the reason we want to detach from the outcome in our sales conversations is not because we want to pretend like we don't care, but it's to be okay with a yes and be okay with a no. And to not need this particular client or this particular sale or this particular product to be sold because we just trust. We trust there's more people. We trust in our process. We trust in the universe. We trust the other person to make the right decision for them. We trust that we're in the right place at the right time and that the right people will come across our paths, whether it's a business people or other people. And I think too, like so often sales conversations can look a little bit like dating. Have you ever gotten off a sales call and sort of processed it like you might have processed a first date, that you're interested and you're not sure if the guy or girl is interested in you? Come on. I know I can't help but have dating references when I think about business or romantic relationship metaphors when I think about business, but especially when it comes to sales calls, it's like a first date. And I think a lot of people are afraid to say, hey, I like you. I'd like to do this again. Right? That's the date version. Or like what I say to some of my people is like, I would love to help you with blah, 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 the thing that we've been talking about in your business. I'd love to help you. I'd love to work with you. People are afraid to say that. People are afraid to make an offer. The other thing that I see that happens with discovery calls with people that also reminds me of dating is they get off the phone, they get off the Zoom, whatever. And the person said, maybe they had to think about it, or, my favorite, I have to ask my husband, or, whatever, which, by the way, well, I'm going to get to that in a second. And then what happens in your brain? Are you trying to figure out what they're thinking? Are you trying to figure out what they're going to do? If they don't email you in 2 days, are you going to make that mean something? And then are you going to start, the self-talk train of like, oh my God, what should I, okay. Ooh, when should I follow up with them? Should I follow up with them? Maybe they're just thinking about it. Maybe I should give them more time. Maybe they're not interested. Maybe I said this and it really pissed them off. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe they're thinking this, blah, 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 blah. Right? It's like what everybody does after a date that they're not sure how the person feels about them. And then like, what if the guy doesn't call in 2 days? What does it mean? Maybe he didn't like me. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said this. Oh, I should have waited and saved that for the second date, right? The truth is, when you can be detached, when you're on a date, when you can just, stay in your own energy of like what it is that you're looking for in a relationship and what it is that you offer. When you're on a sales call, when you can stay in the energy of who you are, what you offer, how you change the world, the types of people you want to work with, what's going to work for you. For me, like a coaching relationship is really important. I'm not going to make an offer to somebody that I don't think I can help, or I don't think is a good fit for me and my style. I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that to myself? Why would I get into a relationship with someone, a serious relationship with someone that isn't a good fit for me, business or professional, right? Like knowingly. So the dating metaphor, I can't not see it, but like, and I have a post going out at some point this week, next week, last week, talking about like, are you treating your sales calls like first dates? Pay attention to where you go into first date mode or post first date mode. It's not your business to figure out what they're thinking. That's not your job. And this is like bonus dating advice too. But it's not your job to figure that out. And that's why when you detach from the outcome, and this isn't to say don't follow up. Of course, follow up if that's right for the way that conversation ended. But it's not your job to figure out what they're thinking. And it's not your job, by the way, on a sales call to talk them into buying your thing. That's their job. That's their decision, and that's their business. Your business is to authentically let them know who you are, what you offer, how you can help them. And maybe like what that would look like if you're doing some sort of, service offering. That's your job. And your job is also to make an offer. Ask for the sale. Tell them you want to work with them. Ask them if they'd like to buy the jewelry. Ask them if they'd like to buy the artwork. That's your job. Let them know what you do. Let them know what your thing is. They decide if it's a yes, no, and that's their business. That's their business. Okay, let me know if this is resonating. I'm just going to check my notes because there was one more thing I wanted to say about this. Yeah, and I sort of already said this, but like so many people, what they miss in sales is simply making the offer. Well, it's implied. I hopped on a call with them. It's implied I did a free webinar. So it's implied that like if I'm doing business coaching and I'm doing some business coaching webinar, then it's implied that like, of course, I would like to have their business. Why do I need to make an offer in the end? That's annoying. That's salesy. That's pushy. I disagree. Because I've spoken with people before that I thought I might want to work with in some capacity. But just like dating, they didn't tell me they wanted to work with me. I want to feel People on the other end, consumers, potential clients, want to feel liked too, just like you do, right? Which is where, like, get yourself out of this sales conversation isn't about you. It's about them. Again, it's about you tapping into what you do and being you, but it's their decision. And their decision is not about you. Their decision is not an evaluation on you and your services. It's not a judgment of whether what you do is good, bad, or otherwise. Most of the time, the true answer, when people say no or yes, it's about fit. Same with dating. You're either a fit or you're not. You either have chemistry or you're not. You either both like each other or only one. Sorry. Okay, that's a no. Right? When we can detach from the outcome of those conversations, we have a better chance of enjoying our business, enjoying our sales calls, and of making a sale. Because if somebody's pretty much a yes, but there's some wonky energy in there, that's where you can slow that process down or even move it into a no, because the person's like, man, like I wanted to say yes, but I just like couldn't bring myself to. I don't know why, right? And again, that's okay. That's going to be part of the process. It doesn't matter how long you've been in business. There's always something you can do better, worse, differently as you evolve, or you're like, oh, after you get off the phone, you're like, you know what? I should have said to her. I should have said this. It's okay. Do your best, show the fuck up, and let it be. And I think too, in discovery calls, what's really important around that, being authentic, is just sit down and have a conversation. Please don't follow a script unless you're super, super, super new to what you're doing and you need it as a crutch, but like get yourself off of that the quickest that you can, because people feel when they're being read a script. Even if you wrote it yourself. Speak your own words, speak to them real time. Tell them how you think you can help them. Ask them questions about themselves or their business or whatever the problem is that you're helping them solve. Let them talk. Listen. Respond to specifically what they said. Let it be an authentic conversation. Let it be a good first date. Don't go on your first date and like tell people, that you have all your shit together and not let them see, that you don't. Or maybe that's not the best way to say it, but like, don't pretend like you have your shit together and that you have no flaws, because people don't resonate with that. Nobody's perfect. So you're being inauthentic on your first date, right? Go be your you. And like, yes, there's like layers of like the you that you might want to not share on a first date, like your deepest, darkest secret, but like go out and be you. And let them decide if that resonates with them, and vice versa. Hopefully they're being you. It's a two-way street. Sales calls are still two-way streets. But just like dating, people want to be invited. People want to be told that they're liked. People want to be told that you'd enjoy working with them, or you'd love to sell them your jewelry, or, oh my gosh, it would be so cool for me if you buy this jewelry and you get to wear it in this special day of yours, or whatever. Right? Marsha's saying this is all very helpful advice. Thank you. I'm so glad. So there's one more point I want to make before I wrap it up. And I hear a lot of people trying to figure out like what details they're going to be okay with. And there's a few that I just want to quickly shout out. And again, this is, my answer is still going to be what works for you, what makes sense for you, what's the best for you. But I hear a lot of people say like, that you want to like ask the person, particularly with coaching type and helping type services. I hear a lot of people say like, well, if they don't give me their credit card at the end of the call, then the sale is a no, and I'm going to assume they're a no and it's done. A lot of people don't make the big decisions and big investments in a 30-minute call. Plenty do. Maybe they've been around you for a long time and they've heard and seen everything you've done, and they have had other conversations with you, and this is almost just a formality of a conversation. Okay, fine. And I've had plenty of people sign up with me on a call And I've had plenty of people say, I want to think about it, and then come back to me within 1 day to 1 week and say, yes, I am so ready. Here's my card. But I don't actually take people's credit cards over the phone. I don't do that. I don't want to be bothered, honestly, with like the technology of that in the middle of the call. I'm going to trust that if they say yes on the call, and then I go to my system and I set up, because I like to send people a contract and payment all at once. If I go into my system and I set them up and I send them a new contract with the payment and all that details, that if they're a no 5 days later or 5 minutes later, or the next day when they get that email, then I would rather them just stay a no. I don't want them to be a yes and then a no and then have paid for something they don't want. I don't want that. If somebody's not going to still be a yes by the time they receive my contract, then I'm detached from that outcome, right? And so a lot of people, I think, feel the pressure to like get that. If that feels good to you and that helps you move on, great. When they come back, if they come back, then they come back and they go, yes. And you go, great, I'll get your card on this call, right? But if that doesn't work for you, like, it's okay not to force that. For a lot of people, for me, that felt forced. That made me feel like I had to end the conversation and I had to put them on the spot. And part of what I do is I coach people in decision-making. And so I didn't feel like this was something that aligned with my way of coaching and my way of being as a coach to help people make decisions, but then to be like, hurry up, are you going to work with me or not? Right? Like, it didn't feel good. And then it felt inauthentic to me. It's not to say that that's not a good way. It's just, it didn't resonate with the way that I wanted to do things. Most people hop off the phone with me and say they're going to think about it. Most of my yes clients have said that, and that's fine. And then the final thing that I want to say that I hear a lot of people worry about is like the follow-up process. I think it's good to set up a follow-up process, like a couple of different options for yourself in advance, just as far as like, what do I want to do? What feels good to me as far as who I'm going to follow up with and when. And then I also like to take, as soon as I get off a discovery call or within that day, I like to sit and think through that conversation and go, now I have my little general process of like, I usually don't follow up with people before at least a week minimum. I just don't. Most people don't make a decision that quickly. And I'm fine with that. So that's kind of like where I sort of generally sit. I'm usually like 7 to 10 days out, but then I'll run that through this particular person. Maybe we had a different conversation. Maybe they're taking the whole summer off. There's no reason for me to follow up with them until maybe September, right? So then I think about what makes sense for that person, what makes sense for what's going on with me. If I have a special offer, I'll make sure that I follow up with them maybe the week before that offer closes, that kind of thing. That feels authentic to me. What feels authentic to you? Find your own way, find your own process. You don't have to follow up at all. You don't have to follow up 17 times. You get to decide how many times you follow up and how often and how far out. You get to decide when you're going to take payment and how all of that works. You get to decide what questions you want to ask people in your discovery call. You get to decide how you're going to make your sales process feel good and authentic to you. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that. I would love to know how this resonates. I would love to know any other questions you have about sales. I would be happy to do another live with this topic or a similar topic. So let me know that. And as always, if you have any sort of topic that you'd like to see me do live, let me know and I will put it in the hopper. Same time next week, I will be live again. I will see you then. And end of the month is the intuitive reading. So don't miss that, last Wednesday of the month. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Bye. Much love.